Let me record.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So this is our 11th town hall. For those who aren't familiar with our town halls, we use the town halls as an opportunity to give updates on the previous week's activity, and we use it also as sort of like a plan for the current week. And there's an agenda that we sort of go by, but there's also a chance for anybody to chip in and give their own thoughts. So without further ado, I can go through the updates. So the first item is that we had the Algovera Grants last week and we had our voting. So we announced the winners. There was, how many winners in total, Richard?
7 grants were given out.
Seven, yeah, I think it was 7. We released a blog as well announcing the winners. So we will be in contact with the winners to schedule a call and to just outline the whole process. We'll also be doing a blog. Now this comes under the plan, but we'll also be doing a blog just to make everything as clear as possible in terms of the next steps. Then I don't think there's anything else further to say about that. Does that, Richard?
No, I was just going to say, like, we'll also contact the people who aren't successful because there are loads of really good proposals that didn't get funded. So we just encourage everyone to join again next month or put in a proposal next month. We're hoping to, well, we are going to have the same grants round next month. So hopefully.
Perfect. Then the other thing was that we also had an opportunity for people to do freelance work on a project. What we partnered with Insight. That deadline is going to close today, I think. I think it was meant to close yesterday, but we can give one more day just because there might be people who weren't aware of it. That might be on the call, or that might sort of see the town hall. So I can send in the form to register your interest in the chat. So if anybody's interested, they can fill it out. And again, there is a blog on this as well on the docs.algovera website. So the deadline is going to be end of business today. So that is that. Then we had our first session with DataUnion face anonymization hacking session. Richard, I believe you were at the session. Will you be able to give a little brief of what happened and how it went?
Yeah, Robin just gave a presentation about the problem that we're trying to solve, which is basically, so they're crowdsourcing data from using their app, which is kind of like Amazon Mechanical Turk, but for Web3. And so people upload images that have, faces in them and stuff, but for privacy reasons, DataUnion want to run an anonymization algorithm on everything that's uploaded. So in other words, if someone uploads an image of something, it'll run a face detector and then anonymize the face. And so they're building a data set that they want to do this with, but I think at the moment the private data set isn't available. So they just want people, start playing around with some public anonymization data sets and things like that. And yeah, I've been trying to figure out how we can use the private data set because, it's pretty crazy to get them running the face anonymization algorithm, just download data set, download GitHub and, so
Sorry, I don't know if it's the same for the rest of us, but your voice
I
is
can't hear.
choppy.
Breaking a bit from you.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah.
It's 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Cool.
15 seconds. Okay. Yes. So what would be cool to see would be to get access to the private data set and see how well the available algorithms run on the DataUnion data set, for how well do they perform in terms of face anonymization. So I think it would be good to get access to that private data set as quickly as possible. And then afterwards, maybe we can, start retraining some anonymization algorithms on the DataUnion data set to try and improve performance and things. So yeah, there's a recording up on YouTube if you wanted to catch up on the opening session, and we're going to run it every Friday. I think it might just be like half an hour. So it's a little bit of a different format to what we're used to with the hacking sessions, because, you know, Robin is taking the lead on them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. And I think he wants to use like Coordinate to track contributions, and that will be used in terms of sharing ownership of the algorithm that's created.
So sounds good. The next couple of items as well is the DeFi hacking session and the storage pod. Maybe you can also give an update on that, Richard. I think they were talking about having a tutorial on PyTorch, I believe, on the channel.
I missed this one. I was at the dentist on Wednesday, so that was the first hacking session that went ahead without me, which was actually a good moment. It's good to see others taking the lead on the hacking session. So I think Iago led us, and Jakob kind of did the recording and stuff like that. And as far as I can tell, they were talking about Dune Analytics. And so Christian was giving an overview of Dune Analytics and like how it differs to the graph, for example. And then I think they were talking about this PyTorch forecasting library, which is the one I think Archie was using to train some models. And so we've got past a lot of the issues. Like, for example, we were getting like unrealistically good accuracy too long into the future before using some of the older models. But now that we've switched to PyTorch forecasting models, it seems like we're getting much more reasonable results. And so, yeah, I think people wanted to have another session just to go over PyTorch forecasting and stuff, which I haven't actually looked at before. So I think that would be interesting. And so, and I also think Christian was getting some more data for people. So yeah, it's progressing really nicely. We're starting to get models that are getting reasonable results. So hopefully we can start to maybe we can publish the algorithm soon. Like, that's one thing that we need to do for the Ocean deliverables actually, is publish the DeFi borrowing cost prediction algorithm. And then, yeah, maybe just get a decent algorithm up and running on Ocean would be really cool. So yeah, it's progressing really nicely.
Cool. And the storage pod, I know you were talking about the documentation and roadmap. It's also one of our deliverables.
Yeah, so yeah, like we've kind of been just like reviewing all of the different technologies that we can use for decentralized storage. And then we were starting to put structure to the problem. And now we're starting to like figure out a roadmap for what we want to build. Because we want to also like hopefully get some grants for building out that part as well, like for example from Filecoin or from Streamer. And so I've actually been like chatting to a working group in the Filecoin Slack page about like what's the best way to proceed. So we're building out, so FS spec, it's file system spec, is like a Python interface for lots of different cloud storage providers. And so there's an IPFS spec which isn't fully completed. So we're thinking that we're going to finish IPFS spec and then figure out how we can use IPFS spec with Filecoin. So we're just kind of planning that out at the moment. And then that means that once we have those working, we can use them with platforms like Hugging Face, Active Loop Hub, which is kind of like a computer vision version of Hugging Face, and basically just give data scientists access to using decentralized storage through the language that they're used to, which is Python.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a very active pod, the storage pod. So, and there's loads of activity going on in the channel as well. So it's definitely worth checking out. Then that's essentially it from the updates part of the town hall. We kind of touched on the scheduling the call with winners and also the people who have applied. The second item is that we'll be selecting either one person or two people for the freelance project, and we'll schedule a call with them and again outline the process so that they're clear about clear about the deliverable and the whole process. So that'll also happen this week. Then there's the OceanDAO Grants Round 14. So the deadline is, I believe, tomorrow, and the voting begins 2 or 3 days after. So again, we're planning to put in another proposal, and we'll hopefully be successful this round as well. Another aspect actually is the Algovera squads notion. There is a subsection in Notion now that is dedicated for squads. So people who have been successful in the Algovera Grants round will reach out to them and also give permission to edit those subpages so that they have their own space within the larger Algovera Notion page. So each team will have a Notion subsession, and they will have the freedom to use that as their space to collaborate and whatever they feel like is necessary to put in the Notion page. So updates on Defi hacking session. I don't know if you are aware of what will happen, Richard, for this week, because you missed out on the last one, or I think you also kind of give an update in the update session.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I kind of covered that with the PyTorch forecasting. That's like the modeling is the next step, I guess. Just like testing out a bunch of models, seeing like what to pass as input parameters and things like that. So just lots of data science modeling. Cool.
Then the last item that's actually on the agenda is the development sprint. So we met, the core team met to plan out the development sprints, and we split into 2 groups. One that is focused on data science workflows, and then one that's focused on developing smart contracts. The smart contract team will have to do a bit more research into the state of the smart contracts, sort of existing code and existing frameworks like Gnosis, and how we can build on top of it for the use of Algovera squads. And so that will be more so research based, and then the data science workflow will be integrating Ocean workflow for data scientists again. So A.O.B and Keaton had been working on integrating MetaMask with the Jupyter Labs. So they've completed that, and I believe published to PyPy. A.O.B has just joined, so maybe he can give us a little update on that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it was published to PyPy yet. Keaton said that he was going to do that either over the weekend or maybe at the beginning of this week. So I think, yeah, definitely this week it should probably be published. But the extension is available in the GitHub repo, and you can install it with pip as well if you just clone the repo, and there's a instruction to how to use it. So if you don't want to wait till it gets published, then you can definitely start playing around with it.
Cool, awesome. That's it for this week. This week's was kind of a short update, short town hall. Is there anything else, Richard, that you want to mention or bring up?
Like just one kind of slightly interesting bit is I was just chatting to Radical just about grants. So Radical are like the decentralized GitHub. So I spoke to someone from that team today, just exploring what our options are for funding. And so like I'm more interested. So in Algovera, for example, we do data science work, of course, but we're also building a platform to make it easier to do data science work. And so I was thinking, it would be more interesting for us to integrate Radical into our stack somehow in terms of the platform. The more long-term thing, what I seemed interested in straight away was, getting some data science work done. And so they linked me to this request for proposal. So they want to do some data science work on what they call drips. So drips are like funding streams to open source developers. So people who are contributing to certain repos and stuff, an organization can like drip them funding or whatever. And so they want some data science work done on the drip data. And what they really want is like a recommender system for, you know, I guess who, like which open source developers should be funded or something like that. So like recommender systems are interesting, and like one algorithm is like collaborative filtering, for example. And I think like it's a really interesting project to work on because, you know, it would be great to get some recommender systems in the Algovera ecosystem as well for all of the people that are contributing and stuff like that. So it's just an interesting area. And I think it's like they approximate like 1 month of funding for like $12,000, which, you know, you could spread out. You could do in 1 month full time if you wanted, or you could do 4 months at 25% full time. But if people were interested in the community, it would be really interesting to build a team within Algovera to start like playing around with this algorithm, especially because it's funded, and it could also have a use in the Algovera ecosystem. And so it depends how much time people have, I suppose. But if there are data scientists looking for like a more extensive job than 10 hours per week, well, I guess it could be 10 hours per week for over the space of 4 months, or it could be full time. So I posted it up anyway in the grants channel, and if anyone is interested, maybe reach out and we can start to discuss. And if there's a few people interested, maybe we could contribute together. But yeah, just another interesting thing that came up today.
That's pretty cool. I think it might be even worth consolidating all these different opportunities into one space, so that like, you know, the common theme is that like these are all people that are interested in like data science and in AI. So it might be worth sort of consolidating all these opportunities into one space for, you know, from right across like the Web3 space. I think that might be something useful that we can do sometime in the future.
Exactly. And like the way we find work with other Web3 companies is by chatting to them, like just DataUnion or like Insight, because we know them from the Ocean ecosystem. But this is the same, except that people have just put up issues on GitHub for things that they need done. And so it's quite similar to the freelance or consultancy work that we're doing. And so, yeah, it'd be cool to like, maybe if we get to the stage where there's lots of these opportunities, if we had like a bulletin board for stuff like this, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be something that's on our roadmap. We can put on our roadmap for sure. Cool. There is
there's no Jira for things using Kanban boards on GitHub. And so if we set up, I guess you'd need a separate repo for each one. So we've been like, we had a Kanban board for the generative art repo, for example. I think we have one for the Defy that we don't use that much, to be honest. So like, I guess we could make a repo towards this and set up a Kanban board with issues and task tracking and stuff like that. But if you can think of a better way of doing it, we're all ears. We'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, there's also a Notion. I think there's a Notion, like you can use Notion for a Kanban board as well, but GitHub repos might be also do the same purpose, achieve the same goal, I think.
And we're just starting to like put together our sprint framework. So like the core team have been working in sprints. So we're trying to figure them out ourselves. And we also want to like start doing sprints with pods, for example, or basically just coming up with a framework for task tracking across all of the projects in Algovera. So I think that's a good stage to start thinking about, you know, what can improve our system, like whether that's Jira, for example. I know Jira costs quite a bit of money though. It's like a enterprise version though. So like if we could come up with an open source task tracking that was better than the way we're currently doing it on GitHub, that would be of interest for sure.
Yeah, actually, is there an open source task tracking? Well, as GitHub is kind of, I guess, free to use, but I don't think it's as interactive as some of the other platforms. But yeah, I'm not aware of anything that's great.
And like, I wonder, like, is Radical? I need to dive into Radical. All right, see, Archie, good to see you. Yeah, like Radical is supposed to be a bit like GitHub with task tracking and stuff on top. So when I get a chance, I want to dive in and try and convert one of our repos into Radical because it's decentralized. and then see how maybe they have some task management, for example. But it's definitely something we could use.
Didn't make
Archie,
the intro there for sure.
Yeah, Archie
Archie.
asking about an intro to the Munchies index. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I want to reach out to everyone who wasn't successful, and so for sure, yeah, for sure we can ask about contributing there.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's a wrap for this week's town hall. It was a pretty short one, but I think there's a load of tasks that we're still in progress mode. So hopefully next week there'll be more updates. We're also sending out the newsletter later today. So if there's anything that we missed in the town hall, we can send it out in the newsletter. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining, and
Thanks everyone.
see you next time.
See you shortly. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.